joined here today by the one and only Gillian the Savage Robertson, set to fight Cortney Casey at UFC APEX. Gillian, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great, just getting through the times right now, training when I can, and getting ready to 20 in it.
Yeah, of course, sounds good. How's quarantine been for you? Have you been as locked down as everybody else, or have you had a little bit of freedom?
I have been locked down pretty much, but I have a friend who has mats in his garage, and I have a really reliable coach. So
Right.
I've been lucky with both of those. I've had a lot of time with Dean Thomas during this quarantine, so I've seen myself improve a lot over the last couple months.
And you mentioned Dean Thomas. I talked to him a couple months ago. Of course, he did leave ATT, start on his own. But the first thing I said to him when I talked to him is, I was like, I knew there was one fighter that was going to follow you. And of course, we're talking about Gillian Robertson. I was like, obvious. He was saying, you're the only fighter that's working with him so far. Are you still the only fighter?
I know he's working with a couple of us, still just a small handful, probably about five or six of us, but we're adding to the group a little bit, but we got a strong team.
But I assume it's got to be good for you too, because now he focuses specifically on you. Like you must have even more time to focus on things in particular.
But him leaving ATT is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, just in a selfish way. Like
Yeah.
I get so much more attention from my coach now, where he's not pulled over to like 10 different fighters and just what he has to do for his job. He's able to focus his time on me, and I've really seen a lot of improvements in myself because of it.
For sure. And are you still able to train at ATT, or are you training specifically with Dean?
I'm training specifically with Dean now.
Okay, so what happened with ATT? Like, did you decide to leave fully because of Dean, or is it just something that happened by itself? What kind of happened there?
It's just something that kind of happened by itself. I was quarantined after just me training with Dean. So, yeah, we're just set out right now.
And so, what was your reaction when I don't know who your manager is, but somebody must have came to you and told you that Cortney Casey was probably next for you? How excited were you to be able to get a fight during this time?
I was actually Dean texting me about it. Because he talks to Mick personally all the time. They're very close. So,
Right.
uh, he texted me. He's like, Mick's trying to match you up with Cortney Casey. And I texted him. I was like, I should have for last week because she fought the week
Yeah.
before. And
Right.
he's like, that's why I like you. And I already said yes.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I assume you were excited when you heard her name too, because it's a good name to get back out there, especially she's coming off the big armbar win.
Oh yeah, she's definitely she's one of the names that's been around for a while, so she's definitely well known, and it's a great matchup for me, honestly, stylistically, like perfect matchup. So I was definitely hyped for that.
And so we know you like to fight on the ground. You get all these submissions and stuff. What did you make of her armbar submission when she got it? Because I'm sure you're looking at that kind of stuff.
It's like I guess you can see it coming. Like I'm definitely impressed. She has several armbar wins, but it's nothing that I won't be able to defend, nothing that I won't be able to see, and you have to get me in your guard to be able to armbar me. So it's like I don't plan on spending much time there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How do you like the matchup in this one? I assume you favor yourself in this matchup, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. I've watched a couple of her fights, and I feel like Courtney's fairly tough, and she's gonna, like she's only been finished once, so she's gonna give me a tough time. But I also don't feel like she's very technical, and she doesn't have a strong wrestling game. So it's like that's where I'm gonna shine.
And yeah, away from the fight a little bit, there was something I was looking at, and we talked about it earlier this year. I was, sometimes I look at the fighters' comments on Instagram just to kind of see what's going on. And do you pound for pound have the worst comments on all of Instagram? Because I even commented on one. I was like, "Good Lord, the thirst is real."
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I don't think mine's the worst. I've definitely seen a few like Rachel Ostovich. I know they're
Oh
pretty
yeah,
bad.
oh, dear God, yeah, you got to block the comments at that point.
Oh yeah, it's really like I just don't get it. I'm like, where do you plan to get with some of these comments? Some of them are so outrageous, so out there. I'm like, do you really think like on any girl that would work?
Right. I mean, do you look at your notifications when you get all these comments, or have you learned to just you breeze right through them and just look at the important stuff?
Yeah, I just try to breeze right through and look at the important stuff. Usually, just looking for my friends or looking for
Right.
people I know that have commented. I try to avoid anybody else. Or sometimes fans have interesting things to say, but majority of the time, it's like the creeps ruin it for the fans.
Right, for sure. Listen, let's come back to this fight against Cortney Casey. Was this kind of the fight that you had that you wanted next? Like, was this the right bounce back fight for you and, get your name back out there and get everything back on track where it's supposed to be?
No matter what, any fight would have been the right fight for me next. Cortney Casey just happens to be a great matchup for me, though. So I'm excited for this one and happy to be able to do this. But no matter who's in front of me, I'm ready for it.
And so you mentioned she did fight recently. We did see her not that long ago. Does that bring her any kind of advantage? The fact that she had a fight recently, is there any kind of disadvantage? I mean, does that bring anything? The fact that she fought recently?
I guess it depends the fighter. It depends where they're at, because sometimes mentally it's a lot to fight, and I believe it's a 5 week period that like she fought last week and is fighting again, and it's like half weeks out we are now. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, that's a lot to fight in that short period of time. So it's if she's there mentally, she can bring a that fight to the table, or it might make it easier. She might just be really comfortable in there. It's like, all right, I just did this last week. Let's do it again.
And so, how's training camp looking for you right now? I know there's tons of fighters they're not able to get the right training partners and stuff like that. Are you situated the way you want to for your current training camp?
Oh yeah, always. No matter what, I'm gonna make things happen. I'm gonna make the things work. So we find training partners and we bring them in, but we're gonna make sure that I'm always gonna be ready for the time whenever the cage door closes.
All right, there's something that because I'm media, I have to ask you about. It's all about the clickbait stuff, and you can choose to answer or not to answer. But there's a lot of stuff going on about ATT, talking about Colby Covington, this and that. From what you've seen, is it accurate? Is the stuff being reported accurate, or are there things that we're missing, or is there stuff getting too hyped up? Like, what's kind of your take on all that stuff?
I guess I don't get too deep into it. I
Right.
definitely know, like, seen a few of the things of like media saying, "Oh, the drama's fake." No, it's definitely real. Like, I definitely see between like George, Dustin, and Colby, there's definitely a drama there. But yeah, I just try to stay out of it. I'm not really trying to get too deep into that. Just trying to do my own thing.
Right. Who are you training with currently? I believe at one point you were training with people like Valerie Lareda and people like that. Are you still able to train with those people, or do you have slightly different training partners?
Oh yeah, I've been working with Jose Shorty Torres a lot for this camp, and actually Hannah Goldie is coming down tomorrow to work with me to stay here for a couple days. So not the same training partners, but same quality.
For sure. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about your last fight a little bit. Obviously, it's not a fight that went your way. What do you take away from that fight? What did you learn from that experience?
Um, I don't know. I literally got asked this the other day too, and I was just like, I really don't like. Um, I did obviously take away something from every fight, all technical aspects that you can improve on, but like mentally, I just try to get over it. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
I can do. Like, it happened, it's over, and I just try to move to the next one. That's all I've thought about since I was walking out of that cage door. Is just getting my hand raised again. So. Dean and I have just been working on me and doing everything I can to make it a possibility for me.
And I assume the fight it must have been a frustrating one because there was like this beef that kind of came out of nowhere and stuff like that. I assume there must have been so much going on mentally, heading into that one and even afterwards too.
Yeah, mentally, I was calm. I was where I needed to be. I was ready to go in there, but it was just, like I said, afterwards, I just try to get over it. Like, there's nothing you can do. It was stopped, and the ref felt like it needed to be stopped, so I'm cool with that response, and I'm ready to get back in there and get back to the next, get my hand raised again.
And so you're currently in the 125-pound division, who we know, like pound for pound, you probably have the scariest champion. I mean, it seems like even like we heard Paige Van Zandt do interviews, and she's terrified of the champion. What's your take on the champion as someone in the division? Like, do you see that as like the ultimate challenge? Is there a certain fear? Like, what's your take on it?
Um, I feel like you need to have a little bit of fear at least, definitely associated with it. Like Valentina is a powerful force in the division, but I see that I see her as a threat in the future, but I also see her as a winnable fight. Like no matter what, I always see myself having a chance to like any of the girls in the top 15, even if it is Valentina. I feel like I have a way to take them out. I have a unique style, and it's going to pose a lot of threats to a lot of girls.
And a very important question during this quarantine. But with a lot of the men, we were talking about haircut situation where guys buzzing their hairs and stuff. But we see you. You always have a unique hair color, whether it's pink, red, what you currently have. How have you survived that? Were you able to make it through with the correct color, or have you just been waiting for the opportunity?
As they should. I'm struggling right now with my roots. I tie it soon. Um, but yeah, I actually have a shampoo and conditioner that keeps it the same color, that keeps it bright, so
Oh,
it
okay.
does every single time I do it. So I've been able to stay bright and stay red. But still haven't made it as a hairdresser, but we're gonna make sure we do that so it's nice and fiery red before my fight.
Right. Is that become one of your pre-fight rituals yet? Like one of the things like you got to get the hair right before you can go out in the cage.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's part of the look. It's part of
Right.
I'm stuck with it. I have to do it.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, if you were to come out like brown hair or blonde hair, like you'd get booed and you'd probably have to leave the cage and then try again with the right hair color. Like I assume at this point, you've taken this commitment; it's happening no matter what.
Oh yeah, I did. Like when I dyed my hair, it was just kind of like a whim. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna
Right.
do it." And then now it's 3, 4 years later, and I'm like, I'm stuck with this. I can't change it.
I feel like Random Marcos too. Like one day she went from black hair to all red hair, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to stick with it now. I mean, there's no going back.
Yeah, it's the character. It's how people know. Like I feel there's so many people like, "Oh yeah, you're the redhead." Like it's you stick out.
Oh,
Redhead tough.
right. Well, you got to do whatever you can to market yourself. So it's like, listen, you got tough, you got the redhead. If you recognize me, I'll take it.
Exactly.
So listen, this fight with Cortney Casey, let's say you go out there, you get the big win, right? Submission. We know you like to end your fights by submission. What does that do for your career? I mean, I assume everybody starts talking about you and you get the big followers on Instagram and all that stuff. But what does that do realistically for your career in terms of where you're next in the division?
Well, Cortney Casey, after her last fight, she recently got ranked, so she's number 15 at the moment in my division. So, uh, hopefully, a win over her gets me up there, gets me in the rankings, and I can start ranked opponents, get some tougher girls, and work my way up the chain.
For sure, and that brings me to my last question, one that I'm sure you're going to hear a million times from fan, media, maybe even coaches for some reason. But how do you see this fight playing out come June 20th?
Everybody knows that I have one game plan, and it's a race to the throat. I'm just trying to get there and get in there, get out of there as fast as possible. So I'm just going to damage on the way, trying to really implement my ground and pound and just let rear naked.
For sure. Well, we look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Thanks so much for the time, Jillian. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.